Photopea. Now this video is going to be a little bit long, but I will put breaks in it so you can periodically stop it as you go along. So first of all, let's look at the ad right in the center of the screen when you open this up. You can see the different file formats that you can use for this program, and it's pretty much anything. It will even export as a Photoshop file, and these are your image files. The only thing you do not see there is HEIC photos, which are the photos that your iPhone defaults to. So you want to consider, like I said, turning that off before you even use Photopea.com so those photos are workable. Now, if you forgot to turn it off and you have a photo that you really want to use for this project, you just would need to edit it beforehand on your phone before you upload it to your Google Drive. In this video, I am working from my Mac, but if you are on your Chromebook, it's going to look very similar to this. If I minimize this, there's an ads that run down the side. I suppose if you were to pay for this, you wouldn't see those anymore, but I found that if I minimize my screen and then choose to stretch it out, it gives me a little bit more room to work. We're not going to do a tremendous amount with these projects. So, okay, next, your whole desktop working area here. You can see that you've got your layers. Now, for some reason, I was working in here and my screen just sort of expanded. I had more working room on the side here, so I might have to scroll through my layers as I'm working. But anyway, here's the whole toolbar, and your move tool, your text tool, and then as you are clicking on these things, these are your tools, and then your menu bar changes to sort of correspond with the things that you are clicking on. So really, for this project, you're only going to need your move tool, you're going to need your text tool, and you're going to need to access your colors. Over here on the layers panel, you are probably going to use the FX menu. You're going to use some layer adjustments, which is this tool. I don't think you're going to do any masking, but that's how you would make a layer mask. So it really is an awful lot like Photoshop. So the first thing I want to do is decide on my photo. Now, I took my photos first and then I found a quote. I'm using a quote about the sunshine because I had pictures about the sunshine. To open up something, I'm going to go to File and Open. Now, when you do this, you should be able to access your Google Drive. I cannot do that, so I'm going to be working from the photos that are on my computer. Now, I did a little experiment because I wanted to see what would happen if I tried to open an HEIC photo, and I will just tell you that you will get an error. So if you forgot to change those to JPEGs before you shot them again, you would need to edit them on your phone and then upload them to Google Drive, and you should be able to use them. But if you try to open up a photo and you get an error, that's probably why. Okay, so I'm going to open a photo now. All right, this works exactly like Photoshop in that if I hit Command R, or I guess it would be Control R on your Chromebooks, you will get some sort of a ruler. Now, I'm sure that this is set up to some sort of metric system. I'm not going to use that because it's not set to inches, so it doesn't really do me any good. Now, this is a rectangular picture. I am going to have you resize them in a minute, but I just wanted to talk real quick. If yours is rectangular like this, I'm not expecting you to crop them to a specific size unless it is very long and narrow. And I have seen some people turn in photos that are like really long rectangles, and depending upon what phone you're taking your pictures on, you might get some funky sizes like that. If you did need to crop the size, this is your crop tool. And again, here's your menu bar for that. You could go into a fixed size and you could choose your width and height that way. So for now, I'm just going to go back to my move tool. I'm going to resize this now. So to resize this in Photopea, you're going to go to Image and Image Size. You will notice that it is set to pixels. So we don't want to set it to pixels. We want this to be inches, so it would make a little bit more sense to you. And you can see that this photo is 56 inches by 42 inches, which is huge, and it's not going to show up in Google Classroom when you go to turn it in. So for this assignment, what I would like you to do is, if you have a long photo like this, meaning that if it's set up horizontally, I just want your longest length, meaning in this case it would be the width, just to make it 10 inches. And then if you click outside of that, it should automatically adjust your height. So this image is going to be 10 by 7.5. This area down here, DPI, stands for dots per inch. Please set that to 150. That's our resolution. And click OK. All right, so there it is. It's a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to hit Command plus to make it a little larger so I can work with it. So now it's roughly, it's not a huge thing. It's about 10 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. Now in my layers, I want to duplicate this background layer, so I can do that by right-clicking if you have a mouse and choose Duplicate Layer. If you just have your trackpad on your Chromebook, if you highlight that layer and you use 2 fingers to click it, you can choose Duplicate Layer, and it'll duplicate that layer. So as you, all right, so adjustments. If you didn't do any editing to your photograph and you think that it needs some changes, which I am going to do for this particular one, down here are the circle that's in half here are all your different edits. So I am going to look at my hue and saturation on this. And again, I do not know why this is taking up so much space, but I don't want it to be lighter. Maybe I'm going to saturate it a little bit, bringing up my color a tiny bit. Okay. Somebody's turning projects in. All right, so I adjusted my hue and saturation a little bit, and I know from doing this project before that I would like to do posterize. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to draw a little bit more attention to this blue area in the center of my image. Not a ton. Just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm ready to start adding my text. Now, the text part of this is very important. It can make or break your picture. So you want to choose a font style that's going to look good with your image and not detract from it. Your font in this case is a design element, meaning you want to use it as part of a graphic design element. You're not just writing something, you are using your text as part of your artistic creation. So here's your text tool. And if I slide to the top, this is really hard to see where my text is. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to, with my text tool, I'm just going to click in my picture. And this is where I'm going to start typing. So my quote is, keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see the shadows. So I'm going to break this up. So I want the words sunshine and shadows to really stand out because I think that it would just make for an interesting design. So I'm going to put in keep your face to the. Now this is really tiny, obviously. If I have my auto select on, that will allow me to click on different areas to highlight them. So obviously this is way too small. So in order to edit that, I'm just going to come over here and find that layer. And again, I'm not sure why this is so small like this. Earlier when I was working, I had much more room to work. Yours will hopefully look different than this, and you'll be able to see a little bit more of your layers. So if I want to highlight it to edit it, I'm going to double click on it. Number one, I want the color to be different. I know I'm going to want it to be white. And I also want it to be a different text style. Honestly, I really like these fonts much better than the ones that are in Photoshop. I just think they look nicer. Maybe they're more up to date. I don't know. Another thing that I really like about this is I can just use this slider to make my font the size that I want it to be. So I'm going to choose about an 86, and on top of that, I want my text to be divided up like this. Okay, keep your face to the, all right, I'm going to go on. I'm just going to put in, and I'm going to finish up my text, and I'm going to put it on different layers. Make sure you don't have any errors. And then one last, okay. So there's all my text layers. I want to just double check to make sure that I don't have any empties. Okay, I don't. And now I'm just going to start putting this together the way that I want it to be. All right. It's a little difficult to read, and now I really want to bring, I really want these to show up. So sunshine, I want that word to really pop. So I want to choose a much more bold font for that. And the word sunshine also, I want to have something that reflects the fact that it's sunshiny. Let's see, maybe I wonder if there's anything down here, way down. So I want something maybe playful. Okay, that's kind of nice. And I want to size it enough that it's going to really pop. And I also want it to be warm and sunshiny feeling. So I'm going to choose a color. Not sure whether I'm going to keep it that bright yet or not, but we'll find out. Then the word shadows. Oop, there we go. That one, I don't want to use the same font that I used for the sunshine, but I do want to use something that's, let's see that one. Okay. Let's try this. All right, so keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see the shadows. Oh, I've got a little bit of an error in here. There is a period where it does not belong. So I would like to put some effects around these things. Can I see here, please? There we go. Let's put a stroke around this. And again, like it wasn't doing this earlier. By the way, this works the same way that Photoshop does. This little X mark, I can use it to pick a color in here, but I can also come out and just click on a color and it'll pick it out. That's looks like it's awfully big. Maybe I'll do just a 2. And by the way, if you define new, the next time I come in here, like if I want to come in here where it says this one, keep your face, and I choose FX, stroke, it's going to automatically apply the same stroke. Okay. Now I want to do a couple different things with the sunshine. I think I want to put a stroke on that, but not the same stroke. I want to pull this over here, and I want to pull this over here. Man, I'm just going to play around with the different colors. I kind of like the reds because it pulls out the reds in the trees. And for the shadows, I am going to use my blending modes for that. I'm not sure whether white is the right color for that. So let's try something deep, dark red. Let's first see what that looks like. And then on that layer, here's all my blending modes, by the way. Same exact, oh, I kind of like that. Multiply, color burn, no. Okay, keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see the shadows. All right, so there it is. I'm happy with that. Now, if I wanted to try something to make it stand out a little bit more, some different things you can do are you could choose to, for instance, let me put a black box in here. If you click on the corners of these, you can, like, suppose I wanted to, I don't know, maybe my quote was smaller or I had smaller words in here. I could come in here and put a shape behind it. There you go. You know, something like that. And it really helps the words to pop a little bit. I could also just keep that normal and pull the opacity down on that layer. Of course, if I put a shape there, you probably want that to be at the very bottom, like behind all your text. And again, okay, so after I finished my quote, I've got a couple different options here. I want to obviously export it because I want to be able to turn it in. You cannot name it here. So when you go to File and Save As, the only option it gives you for File Save As is a PSD, which you're welcome to do, but you still can't change the file name of it here. I would just suggest that you export as JPEG. It's going to it might give you a place that you're exporting it to. At least on my computer, on my Mac, all it does is it creates a download. So I'm going to just pull that off onto my desktop and I'm going to show you what I do with that then. So here it is. I do not want you to turn it in with this funky file name. So you are going to either right click if you've got a mouse or just double click on your trackpad and choose rename. Now, notice how it says .jpeg. Whatever you do, do not change that. But now that it is highlighted, you can change this. And you should be able to do this in your Google Drive as well. Like if you were to, on your trackpad, to double click on it, you should see the option to rename it. So leave it as a JPEG and just give it a name. So this is just going to be quote 1. Well, I'll name it quote 2 because I have a quote 1 right next to it. All right. So there's my quote. It's finished. That would get uploaded into Google Classroom under the final quote project assignment. And that's it. Then you would just do a second one. And it would be a different quote, different images. And that's basically it.